Hello, and welcome to part 2 of our video for the platformer, where we were creating our health UI and having the player character be damaged without having to use this pain causing volume, because it'll be a little bit harder to add in inside of a blueprint. So now if we head back into our folders, we can go ahead and add a new folder, assets. So to go ahead and get this started, we will add a blueprint actor. Go ahead and make it a spike. Now we have our spike. We will add two things here. One will be a cone for our little spike. The next we will add is a collision block. Or not a collision. Actually it is. Box. Compile and save it. That's about all we'll need at the moment to get this all working. From here, we hop over to our event graph in our blueprint. What we want is this one. It's actually component on component can overlap. Here it is, on component begin overlap. We would like this one, and I still had this box selected, the collision box. That's why it says box. Same as this one. If you have the cone selected, it could cause some issues. So before going into that too much, make sure you have your collision box selected before adding this here. So from here, what we're going to do is we are going to add a node called apply damage. What you used to have to do is you would have to, or one of the ways I used to do it was you would have to go to your player character and request it to take damage. Now, thanks to our node here, event any damage, now it is actually just as easy as we want it to take damage. We will promote this to a variable. This variable will be the amount of damage we do, and it'll automatically tell the player character, hey, we need them to take 20 points of damage. I'll save. And if we go ahead here, oh, forgot to place one down. Now, if we come in here and under here, now if we go in, we take our damage. To make sure it doesn't get too buggy, as you saw, it doesn't really need to. because it does it on the overlap, not while you're in it. You could add in a do once. So that it's not as buggy. You don't have to do this. It's only just so it's a little bit less of a risk of it like bugging out. So something like a moving projectile, you might want to do this in. Anyways, now that we have our character running around getting hurt, we have objects that we can go ahead and make us get hurt. We have a few more things we can do. One of them being we have to respawn our character. After it dies, we could add in our little game over screen. We'd also like, and as you saw from the example one earlier, you could make your character get hit, have a particle effect, make it play a sound whenever it gets hurt, and I'll create a spawning particle as a like little demonstration on how you would get that working. But the next part would be player character dies, we'll have them respawn. To do that, we will go ahead and add an event. We have our spike, we will go to our third person character. A lot of our stuff will be happening here. So we'll want to do our check most of the time here after we take damage. A lot of the stuff we'd be doing. So, for example, we would do station. This would be what we would do for in order to get our particle. This is only something extra. The actor location. I'll just go ahead and put it in now. This is where we'd like go ahead and put in particles slash sounds if we want for him to get hurt. We do it all right here. Here, on emitter, play sound. We would do all of this here if we wanted to place them in. Anyways, what we will want to do is create a few things for the quote unquote death state. The first one will be just an ask, is it dead? Is the character dead? And we will do that here at the end by doing a branch. We'll have our current health, make it less than or equal to 0. And it is just as easy as that. now that we have that little death check, we will then add a custom event. Called death. Custom events are a very nice tool that you can use to organize everything a little bit better, but also kind of like sections off everything in a way where you won't start like, I won't start grabbing stuff from here and bringing it down there. So everything stays in nice little sections. So like we could move this whole part up here away from our death area now, as we probably won't need it anymore for what we want to be working on, which is what happens after we die. So by default, our boolean for is dead will be off as the character isn't dead to start off with. Here, we will set him to be dead. Set is dead. And now we will go ahead and bring in this character movement mode. We will want to add in a stop movement immediately. And because we don't want the character to keep on moving around after it's dead, and disable. So that the character stays there when it dies. This will cause it so we head on back over here. No, not this one. Do this one. And now here we are. Character stopped moving. Character is dead. Everything is working as intended. But now we have a new issue of, now we have to set a new event. So custom event, same as before, for our respawn. Here we will add a respawn. So we can organize it. This will be death. Right here is where you would, right on this section right here, is where you would add in a game over menu, anything like that would be right here. And then you would want, instead of having it just straight connect to respawn, you would have from the menu for the game over to add a respawn. And if you guys do want to add that into your project, that will, as you guys know how to add in menus into level and be able to open levels, play levels such as that. But for now, I just want it to be a straight respawn because it's more of a platformer game that we'll be doing for this assignment. So it usually just lets you go. And most of them, they'll just let you go back to the start and then you just continue on. So now, when we respawn, we need to declare that our character isn't dead anymore. we will have to also do something else. Which will be, we have to get our spawn location where the player starts at. And we will use that with this right here. Right here, what we are trying to do is we're trying to get our player start. When we're trying to find it out in the world, like where is it? And once we find it, we will go ahead and get actor location. And then we will set actor location. This will be here, this will be here. The target will be the player character. That's why it says target self. So now if we go ahead and hop back in, actually can up this one to be a instant kill volume. Right here, we can we could even test it to make sure that's not going on over. Okay, so 180, if I step in here, I respond, but now I can't move, unfortunately. That is because right now in our character, we still have it set to stop movement and it's disabled. Re-enable it, we will go ahead and get our character movement. Go ahead and set movement mode. Plug it into here. We will set it to walking. That's usually the default one. It's the only reason why we'll set it to walking. And I'm not sure if you caught it, but there was another issue that came up with the insta death. That now we don't have health. So we'll just instantly die. If you remember, this one's only 10. We're just instantly dying now. So we'll have to come back over here. We will have to set our current health to our max health. And we will also have to do the rest of this of updating it. Now we have, I believe we have about everything we need. We have our respawn event. We have our death event. We have one other thing we can do in order for this to work out a little bit more smoother. Especially with something kind of like the pain volume that we had outside, is we can add, just as a safety net, a branch right here. And we'll do a request from Unreal to say, is the character dead? Plug it in. It is not dead. Then do this. And then it'll continue. So something that would start taking down a lot of damage. If it is dead, it won't continually keep trying to cause more damage to the character. I believe that is all we had on for the character. So first part we did the UI, we did the HUD, we went ahead and let the player character take damage and update the UI. For the second part, we went ahead and added in a little death effect, or not death effect yet, but we could go ahead and add that in. We added an area where we could go ahead and add in sounds, particles every time we got hit, and we ran a death check, or we created a death check. And here for the death check, we went ahead and created a death state, had it die, had it respawn, come back, and update our health once. And I believe that is about all. And as you saw before, we were adding a lot of custom events around. We could create this little note here. We could create it its own custom event. So if you start, as you get further along, you can start doing these as up. Do it as a health check or health reset. Yeah, we'll do it as health reset. Basically, we could start plugging this anywhere we had this before. So yeah, you could start doing that instead. Which is pretty fun. Once you get a little bit further into messing around in Unreal, you could just create custom events. And as easy as this one up here, as the object, you can always request it. And it will run as is. You won't have to reprogram it again every single time. So if you wanted to, you could create this little comment for particle and sounds. And create it damage, like a custom event for being damaged. And then you could add this for spawn emitters. You could play sounds like we did here with the death check, where it's just we check if we have our health. If it is, we would do death and things like that. That will be it for today. I don't believe anything from my notes shows that there's more to be had, but thank you for watching and have a nice day.